Hey, it's me, Renee. I'm back, and today is book day 7 of Vita with your everyday or booktube Vita. And yeah, I decided to do a little video on reads that I really enjoy. So I decided I think probably was back in November, January, not that long ago, that instead of doing wrap ups for every month, even though I'd still do wrap ups for readathons. I'm not going to do wrap ups for months because the idea behind wrap ups is that you talk about all the books you read, and I don't know, I don't really like unless a book makes me really infuriating and mad, like I want to rant about it. The book makes me just think it's fine, it's a book, but I prefer not to talk about it. I want to talk about cool books and cool things and highlight the good things and not talk about the bad things. So instead of doing wrap ups where I talk about all the books I read, I'm going to be doing recent reads. And I suppose also like what is recent. But that's going to be like every 2 months or something, where I talk about books that I really enjoyed. So recent good reads. So not just books I've read recently, because I suppose recent reads can also be synonym wrap ups for a period of time. But I'm gonna use it as a way of saying these are books I really enjoyed these last few weeks. So yeah, a few of these I've talked about in other videos, but I haven't talked about it in a video like this. Also, every video is someone's first video of me, I'm thinking. And also, a good thing can never be talked about too much. So yeah, let's start. Yeah. Also, I have some books that are just an audiobook, so I'll just talk about them, but I'll link them all. But I'll start with the physical books, and yeah. So first, we have The Curse of the Spectre Queen, which I read back in, I want to say January, February, the beginning of the year. Anyway, well, I suppose April still beginning-ish. Well, maybe it's the middle of the year now. Anyway, yeah, I read a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago, and yeah, it's very enjoyable. Like the first chapter is interesting, but I wasn't really in the mood for it. But so I start. Well, definitely I started. I think I technically started back in like December, November, but then I started it for real this year. And once I got to chapter 2, 3, I was like, oh, things are really happening, and I really enjoyed it. It's been described as Indiana Jones with a female protagonist, which I would say, yeah, quite true. Because it's about this young woman, Samantha Knox. Her dad wasn't, well, he wasn't an archaeologist, but okay, so she used to run around with her neighbor, and her neighbor that used to like solve riddles and stuff. And now she's 17, and a mystery unfolds, and also her workplace, because she works in a antiquity. No, not antiquity. She works in an old bookstore where she repairs old books and like she collects old books. And but the workshop gets burned down. It happens in the very first chapter, so not spoiler at all. But some people might think spoilers are things happen in first chapter as well. If you do that, I think you're a bit mad. But anyway, this, yeah, quite enjoyable. Very fast paced, and I really enjoyed the characters. It was very much like you couldn't really know also like who's the villain, who wasn't, because people were doing dodgy things but for good reasons. And yeah, I just very much enjoy this. And this is also the first in a series, so yeah, very much looking forward to reading the second book. It has a cool spine, but not a cool front. But anyway, it's quite cool. And yeah, I would say if you want to read Indiana Jones style book, check this out. As well as you kind of felt like it was very cinematic, so you kind of feel like this has to be made a movie. And I'm thinking also like if there's an audiobook out there, or I think there's audiobooks of all the books. All the books. But if and it should be, because probably this will also be very cool to have an audiobook, because having it being narrated, I think would be awesome. I'm gonna check out if that exists someplace. Probably. Maybe not. Anyway, let's move on to next book. We got talked for 5 minutes about one book. Yeah. And then Must Do Better, which is one of the actually most recent reads. I read it last week. 2 weeks ago now. Either last week or 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks ago now. So yeah, but still pretty recently. This is the second book in the Diary of a Confused Feminist series by Kate Weston. And at this point in time, I don't know if this is the last book, like if this is supposed to be a duology, or if there will be more books. Honestly, I think like the first book kind of was amazing, but it kind of felt like a standalone. And for a time, I thought it was a standalone, and I heard this was books was coming out, like, oh, a sequel, cool. I read it, loved it, and I'm still kind of curious, like, well, she could write a third book, but I don't really feel like she has to. Like, it's wrapped up pretty good, but she can write more. So yeah, but at this point in time, I don't know if there will be more. But anyway, this book uh goes more into the life of Cat Evans and her trying to be feminist. Takes us more into the depths of feminism. So it's the first one was kind of like feminism. What is it like? I suppose in a way introductory. Like if you haven't really know much about it. The second one is more about intersectional feminism. So feminism, not just for cis women, but also trans, non-binary, and also the gay people, well, like lesbians and that stuff. There's also some a love. I'm not. I was about to say trouble. There's not some love trouble, but okay. There's a love. There's a love subplot here. It's not a huge thing, but it is there. And yeah, also it's just very funny. And yeah, if you're looking for a funny feminist read, check it out. Highly recommend it. The Duke Heist by Erica Riley. So I read this 2 weeks ago, yeah, 2 weeks ago, and I loved it. Like I read 1 or 2 chapters one day, and then the next day I read the rest of it because I was just so captivated by the book. It was just so amazing. It's not huge, but yeah, I read it in one sitting more or less because it was amazing. I love the setting, the characters, also the cover is beautiful. Dialogue, like honestly, I don't really have anything to say about this book that I can complain about. I think, yeah, it's just amazing all the ways. I just loved it. I suppose maybe the only thing I could have like argued about was like, okay, so this book has chapter numbers, but nothing else, and kind of not a trope, but bookish aspect I really love is when books have chapter names, and sometimes or like when books have quotes and stuff in front of chapters. This doesn't have that, and I suppose if it had that, it would be like a 11 out of 10. But at this point, it's a 10 out of 10, so it's not like it's a huge gripe. And yeah, definitely gonna read more in this series because this is a series. I'm really hoping that yeah, in case you don't know, this book came out last year, so it's quite a new book. Really hoping that this becomes a series. Like we need this on screen, or I suppose movie. Also, no, I think a small miniseries. I think would be cool. Like a series of like 10 episodes from each book. I think that could work well. But yeah, this is just amazing. So if you want a very very good historical romance, check out this one. Prince in Disguise by Stephanie Kate Strom. So this is a contemporary romance set in I'm a bit stupid now, but is it? Yeah, set in Scotland. I thought I'd say Ireland, but it's Scotland. Sorry, Scotland. I know it's two different places, but yeah, Scotland. Check first. So, and it's all about Dylan, whose sister is engaged I don't know how I do that, whose sister is engaged to a Scottish lord. And so, and the wedding is happening over Christmas, so she goes to Scotland to be for the wedding. But also, there's also a reality show being made about her sister, so it's also like cameras everywhere. So it's just a fun little romp of a contemporary romance. Because, yeah, Dylan finds her own love story. And, yeah, if you really like love stories between commoners and royals, or like royal set stories, I would say check them out. Quite fun story. Yeah, nice, fun read. Fun, light read for a good time. For a good time, that sounds dirty. But, you know. Text by Julia Tufts. So, yeah, I read this in January? No, February? I read it this year. I don't remember exactly when, but yeah, this year. No, I think it's March. Yeah, I read it in March. Yeah, doesn't matter. But yeah, I love this so much. This is a YA personal series, urban fantasy. So there's witches, but it's set in England, and it's not set in London. I feel like very often books set in England are always set in London, or they might be set in Oxford. This is set in neither. It's set in. It's a small island outside Liverpool, I want to say. Let me just check if it says blah 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 blah. Yeah, Isle of Wight is where it's set. So yeah, it's a small island. Well, small. Yeah, it's kind of small island. But yeah, in the beginning, it's kind of just more about the main character. Blah 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 blah. The main character. I'm getting her name. Good. Okay, yeah. Anyway, the main character, she's new to this town, so she's like getting to know people and getting friends in school and stuff, and kind of hard. And then she gets her first period, and then a little bit after that, things start happening. Turns out she's a witch, and her powers come when her periods come. So at the beginning, like every month when her period comes, she also gets powers. So it's like, two things at once. She can, like, the most powerful witches can do magic without being on a period. But at this point in time, she can't. And yes, just delight. But it also has some great feminist undertones because there's also some slut shaming and stuff. And then the protagonist decides to kind of stop these guys with magic. So yes, very fun to have like feminism, like slut shaming and feminist feminist fighting, and plus witches. I just really like that combination. So yeah. And also, this is the first in the series. Second one is coming out in June, just a few days after my birthday. So that feels like so nice. Which I know it's not on purpose. Still, I really like that coincidence. And yeah, A Curious Beginning by Deanna Rayburn. And this is the first Veronica Speedwell mystery. It's the first in a series of 5, I want to say. I think it's 5 books now. So it's an adult mystery book. It's set in the 1880s. It's a mystery book. I was about to say it has magic aspects to it. It doesn't have that. It kind of also it kind of feels a bit like magical, but I think it's more like because the characters are so eccentric and so different that kind of feels like there should be some fantasy and magic in there. But I suppose it's more like the characters you often find in steampunk and magic series. But this one is it's totally it's in our world. Though I suppose at this point in time, I don't know about future books. Sometimes a book starts in our world and then goes into other worlds. But I'm pretty sure this is not that. But yeah, anyway, if you really like a romance with a kick-ass heroine, mystery, this romance, well, there's hints about romance. There's not, can't really say that's that much romance in this book, really. There might be in the future, I'm thinking, but not in this book. But yeah, there's just great characters and great plot and mystery, and yeah, it's just amazing. I love it so much. I've heard very much good things about this one, and yeah, so I picked it up this year. I was not disappointed. Loved it so much. Highly recommend it. And today I match green, and that wasn't on purpose, but fun. And then I have some audiobooks. So I have them back on there. I'm recharging my phone, so I can be bothered to get it. But I remember the books that I listened to audiobook. So I listened to Count Your Lucky Stars by Alexandria Bellathor, which is the third in her series. It's her first romance series. Well, first books ever. This one takes place between. It's a second chance romance. Takes place between Daisy and Daisy and Margot. And so they used to be very good friends in high school and in their childhood, and then they had a fling at the end of high school, but they never really talked about it. And then Daisy comes to town. She becomes I'm feeling a bit weird. Is Daisy the right name? Okay, so this person comes to town. She comes to town. She's working as a wedding planner, and she ends up planning a wedding for her friends of Margot, and then they have to be together. And first, it's kind of more like attraction and kissing happens, but then after a while, they do realize, oh, you love me as well. Yeah, I love you, but do you love me? So there's some bits bad communication here and there in the beginning, but towards the end, it's kind of like, I love you, I love you, and we're good for each other, yes. And it's just a lovely story. It's just, yeah, I very much enjoyed it. But it was kind of like, can't you just talk to each other? I mean, as I said, at one point in time, they kiss each other a lot, but they think that the other one just wants the physical thing, that they don't want the feelings, and they don't talk about it. But like this, both of them want the same thing, they just don't talk about it, which is communication, people. Communication. Like, I can understand if you don't kiss, but like, if you just kiss each other, shouldn't you then say, what are we doing here? Are we kissing? Is it just physical? Is it something more? What are we doing? But just kissing repeatedly without talking about what it is or like understanding what it is, it's just weird. And also, people around them said like, it's obvious she likes you. It's obvious she likes you in that way, but they didn't understand it themselves. And I suppose it's always easy to say this stuff when you're reading stuff, because when you're inside the conversation, the situation is something else. And also, what do I know? I don't have that much experience with love relationships. But yeah. And then I also read Once Upon a listened to an audiobook, Once Upon a Quinceañera by Monica Ira Gomez. I talked about this one in my wrap up last week because I read it last week for the Waterfall, which was the God Emperor's New Groove. Yeah, Emperor's New Groove. That round. And yeah, I very much enjoyed Once Upon a Quinceañera. It was also second chance romance. Kind of a theme there. I don't know, like that was just random. I very much enjoyed all the characters, all the plot lines, the story. I loved all of it, and I also quite really enjoyed how the protagonist. Give me one moment. The protagonist. I'm just blanking out all names today. Protagonist is called Joanna. I forgot what protagonist is called. But anyway, she doesn't have it all together, which I suppose not every time does. But like, I feel like very often in YA books, when they talk about school, they like say, "Oh, I did a bad thing in school," and then they get the grade back and it's A minus, and I'm like, "How is that A minus bad? Just what?" So this botanist in Once Upon a Quinceañera, she, oh yeah, Carmen. Carmen's name. No, maybe. Okay, I don't remember. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out. Wait a moment. Yeah, I famous video. But yeah, I checked. Her name is Carmen. But yeah, Carmen. She okay. So both two aspects. One, she doesn't get straight A's. I think yeah, she talks about having C's, B's, but like she has a mix of characters of grades. It's not all A's. Yeah, also like I feel like very often in YA books when they talk about school, there are either people who are getting A's or they're getting just F's. But here I really like how you have a character who has something in the middle. And like not everyone is smart as F. I mean, yes, she's not dumb, but like she's not school smart. And I mean she does other stuff, but she's not that smart in that way. And I really like feels weird. But I really like representation in that way. Um yeah, I really like that aspect of her character, and I just feel it's so weird that in every YA book, when let's talk about school, they all have A's and B's, and like if they have a B, it's like, oh my god, I got a B, I'm so stupid, and honestly, I never understand it. Maybe it's kind of weird cultural stuff of me being Norwegian and the books I'm reading being from the US, but still, I mean, correct me here, but I'm pretty sure the thing is that A is the best you can get. B is next best because like the alphabet. C, D, E, F. So if you have F, you're failing. F for failing, and then E would be almost failing, but C and D would be in the middle. And I think a lot of people not sure will be in the middle, wouldn't they? I mean, there's gotta be a lot of people in the United States who get C's and D's, and yet there none of them are in the books. Like in the books, everyone is so smart. And yeah, they talk about when they get a B, like it's oh my god, I'm so stupid. And I don't understand. If you have a B, yay, it's not perfect, but it's close to perfect. You're just a few answers away from perfect. So I don't get why you would be that obsessed with it. I suppose maybe in a way it's probably because in the United States you kind of there's a whole lot of system you have to pay for college in different ways, and it's a lot more competition and stuff. But still, from my Norwegian standpoint, it just seems so weird. I don't really understand it. And like, I suppose I can understand like you would want good grades. Like, if you get one B, or also like a B is not a bad grade. But like, if you get 6 A's and one B in a half a year, that can't be bad. It's one B. I mean, it's just one paper. I don't understand it. But yeah, Carmen, she has gotten most of her grades, but she has D's and C's. I think soon B's. But one school subject she kind of failed because of something that happened because she didn't realize that it didn't work out. So she has to do something over summer. So first she starts doing a summer job someplace, but then that doesn't work out, so she has to do another summer job. And yeah, and because of that, that's kind of how she's working on with high school. And at this point in time, when we start the book, she actually hasn't applied to colleges because she thinks like, college is not for me. But then in the end of the book, spoiler alert, it's a romance standalone. Spoiler alert. But yeah, in the end, in the epilogue, she has started college, so she starts college in the end. But yeah, I suppose it's kind of a second chance romance because second chance romance with her and her first boyfriend, but also second chance for her academically. But yeah, I mean, still, she's not like she hasn't gone. And I also hate when people talk about, oh my god, I'm so stupid, I'm getting C's and D's, and then in a few chapters, there's only get A's. Like, how does that happen? I suppose I understand people could be lazy and stuff, but like even if you're lazy, like if a smart person would be lazy, wouldn't they have turned in B's? Like, would they? If a person is lazy, would they really turn in C's? I mean, even if you're lazy, if you're smart in something, you would have a certain level, wouldn't you? I, I don't know, but yeah. And I suppose that's kind of my real ranty thing there. Even though I really enjoyed the book, that's just kind of this thing that I suppose, yeah, I really am more rant about other stuff. But yeah, can you can you explain to me the American grade system? Because I don't understand it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video of me reading about my recent reads that I loved. And if you want to talk about some recent reads that you loved, please do. Bye. I forgot one book, and I have a picture of it before this, but I could talk a little bit about it as well. So yeah, Alcatraz and the Evil Librarians. As a librarian myself, maybe I should hate this book. But yeah, I mean, just the title alone kind of caught my attention. And yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I loved how the narrator was so flippant, not flippant, he was so whimsical and so unreliable, and he talked to the reader. I really liked that. And yeah, I just really like that concept and whole world in general. It's actually my first Brandon Sanderson book, which, yeah, my first Brandon Sanderson not being his high fantasy books. I mean, I think he's probably most famous for his high fantasy reads. This one is the urban fantasy. But yeah, this is one that kind of caught my eye the most. Oh, I do actually have another urban. I do actually have another Sanderson book that I own. This one was a library read, so that's why I just have a picture of it. But yeah, I haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah, this book was very enjoyable. I'm probably gonna read more in the series because yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked it very much. So if you're in the mood for middle grade with evil librarians, check it out. And yeah, just a short, quick addendum to this video. Bye.